Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SOS Ultimate Goku back with another video. And so today I am going to be talking about some breaking news. SmackDown just ended. I'm from the United States, so it just ended. Because I know some people are watching it earlier than they should be. But anyways, so yes, it officially ended, and Punk has been officially announced for the Night 1 main event with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. They did this contract signing. There was no actual fighting with it. Roman came out, signed his contract first. Seth Rollins came out, signed his contract, and then when Punk came out, he's looking around all the pages, looking for something, and then Paul Heyman, tells him, hey, it's on page 4. When you sign this, you will close the show for WrestleMania 41. And Punk then, panders to Roman because Roman's like, you're not in the main event because of you. You're in the main event because of me. Roman Reigns gets to be in the main event. That's why you get to be in the main event. God, I hate the pandering to Roman. But anyways, so then Punk signs the contract and says that I am happy to be a main eventer for WrestleMania, but then he basically says that is not the favor. The favor that Paul Heyman still owes him. So what are my thoughts on this? First of all, a non-title triple threat match main eventing WrestleMania is just kind of ridiculous in itself. Yes, I know I'm happy for CM Punk main eventing, but I've been consistent. All right, I've been saying it the entire time. So you guys shouldn't be shocked about it. A non-title match at WrestleMania that's a triple threat makes no goddamn sense. It's stupid. It doesn't work. It's a compelling story, but for that to be the main event as a non-title match is kind of insane because they're not fighting for anything. They're just fighting just a normal feud at this point. That's building because of it's building. It's just a non-title match it just doesn't work as a triple threat just doesn't work as non-title. You got to fight for something if it's a triple threat, and they're trying to make it work with the story. Seth and Punk have more of a history for what they're doing in the past couple of years than Roman, though Roman and Seth have had history from being the Shield, obviously, and it also seems like that Seth has just kind of forgotten about, him wanting to finish the score with Roman because he's more obsessed with CM Punk. Because remember, when Roman was the champion, he had wanted to take out Roman, you know what I'm saying, which he did at the Rumble, but now it's kind of like he is just dead set on Punk more than he is dead set on Roman. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like he's kind of forgotten the importance of, him wanting to take out Roman because in this SmackDown, he's like, you're the reason why he's still here. I could have finished it, but you pulled me out of the cage and whatnot, And this whole thing with Roman and Punk, Roman and Punk do have history, but not nearly as much history as Punk and Seth do. Obviously, Roman briefly knew Punk from the last few months that he was with the company. Obviously, they made him look really strong in that TLC handicap match that Punk won. You know, he did beat him on Raw, but that was with Seth and the Shield's help. Dean Ambrose. You know, it was with those guys, which is Punk is right. Punk is right when he says that he has never lost to Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns without the other person helping him. This is a factual statement because, again, the one time Roman beat Punk, again, yes, I do remember this, unlike most people that don't remember it, is that he did beat him on Raw. I believe it was, I think it was right before the Rumble. You know, the night he quit. You know, he quit after the Rumble pay-per-view. It was a couple weeks before that, I believe, that he won one-on-one against him. But it was, again, the Shield helped. And that was kind of the whole, I guess that's the whole thing that they're making this out to being. And obviously Punk is the reason why the Shield was created to begin with. So that's kind of the story that they're telling. But again, it's more of a personal feud than it is something that would make sense for a main event of this magnitude, you know, that doesn't involve a title. Or something up for grabs. Now, since this wasn't Punk's favor to main event night one, this implies, especially the way Roman kind of put it after this was announced by Paul, is this was kind of more something concocted by Roman than it was by Paul for Punk, because obviously Roman wants to main event, and, you know, because he always does. And the idea here is that, well, Punk's obviously going to love it because Punk never main evented before, and that's what he wants. So it's a beneficial to everybody because Roman wants the main event. Obviously, Punk wants the main event. It's a mutual benefit for both of them. Obviously, Seth hates it because Seth doesn't want him to main event. He'd rather wrestle on the undercard than have a match with Punk in the main event at WrestleMania. So this is kind of where the whole thing kind of intertwines with Punk and Roman. But Punk says that was not the favor. So again, what is the favor? What is the favor? You know what I'm saying? What is the favor? Honestly, and even though I think this is still extremely unlikely, the only thing that I think can be the favor is somehow he's inserted into the Night 2 main event with Cena and Cody Rhodes. Like what else can it be? What else could they concoct? Oh, Paul Heyman's up for grabs? Is that the obviously Punk's, I don't think Punk's going to do that. Like, why would Punk? Because Punk's not even with him. You know, he's with Roman. So I don't, and that's not really what the story has been either. The story was that Punk wanted to main event and main event for the title. That was the story that they've been telling for like almost a year now. So the Paul Heyman stipulation, what a lot of people are rumoring about. On the winner of the triple threat gets Paul Heyman as his wise man. That thing doesn't really benefit anybody, you know, because Paul's kind of still good with Paul, anyways, even though he's not really his wise man or whatever. You know, they kind of are. I mean, that's why Roman attacked him in the cage match, right? That's what they made it about after he beat up Seth. So, I mean, this whole, you know, and it doesn't benefit Seth either because I don't think Seth wants Paul as his manager or his wise man. So the story doesn't really benefit Seth. So again, the only thing that makes sense is that Punk, if he wins, he's inserted into Night 2's main event, which would make Night 2's main event a triple threat, by the way. But that's the only way it makes sense. And you know, the way they're building Cena and Cody, it kind of would just be kind of left field, especially since, which again doesn't make sense because Paul Heyman is not an authority figure within the kayfabe realms of the show. Okay, Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce are. Okay, they're the general managers. That's what I've been saying before. This doesn't make sense that Paul would have the power to insert Punk into another match if he wins this match. Like that doesn't make any storytelling sense that would happen. But it seems like that's what they're going with, because when I was there in Buffalo, he said, "I'll deal with you later, Cena. You know, I'll see you down the road." You know, and he even said, you know, if you think that's going to stop me from having my dreams, you got another thing coming. You know, he kind of hinted at that, and then they hinted at it last week on SmackDown, and now Punk himself is hinting at it again, that's not the favor, you know, of me main eventing night one. So again, something isn't adding up here. Like, if the favor is if he wins this triple threat, he's inserted into the main event of WrestleMania 41 night 2, then there has to be some correlation of the build between him and Cena, which really has been non-existent. Now, granted, we've seen kind of Cody and Punk kind of just play around like on live events and stuff like that. I think Cody picked Punk up or whatever. You know, they were kind of playing around and doing fun and games and stuff like that. But like, obviously, Punk has been dead set on Cody for the past couple things. He was going to do it frontward to him. But again, there really needs to be more of a storytelling for that, which it isn't. And that's been the problem with the WrestleMania build in general, not just this particular match. And that's why I made that video a couple weeks ago, because the card and the build towards this year's WrestleMania has been not good. I mean, it's been hot potato, and again, we still don't have a definitive match for LA Knight. Yeah, you know, and no freaking disqualification result with Braun Strowman. Like, who is he facing? And even the same thing with Braun Breaker. We still don't have a Braun Breaker definitive Intercontinental Championship match. People thought it was going to be Penta, but then they had the title match last Raw, which again also ended in a disqualification. Coincidental. You know, they've been playing hot potato with the titles for all these weeks and not giving proper builds to these titles for the stories that they want to tell for WrestleMania. You know, that's one of the biggest problems right now, is there's no real build for a lot of these matches, especially the title matches, because outside of the world title matches, you know, outside of the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship title matches, every other title, the titles have been up for grabs, okay? You know, the World Women's title was up for grabs. The United States Championship was up for grabs. The tag team titles were up for grabs. The Intercontinental title was up for grabs for multiple weeks. You know, like when are we getting to the point where these wrestlers that have these titles, okay, these belts, are going to actually start a proper storyline feud with someone? You know, where a match has been announced and that they are now getting ready to defend their titles at WrestleMania instead of defending them on television. I mean, the only one that has a definitive feud are the matches that are the top matches. The top matches are the ones that most people is what WWE is mostly investing in right now. You know, obviously Orton, Kevin Owens. You know, only the top stars have a proper build or having a proper storyline. You know, Punk, Roman, Seth, you know, their personal animosity. Obviously you have the two women's matches, but again, you know, they screwed up the Rhea Ripley one. And nobody cares about the Charlotte one because Charlotte, nobody likes Charlotte. And, they had to turn Tiffany Stratton babyface because some people are kind of confused by that. Tiffany Stratton was not supposed. I repeat, Tiffany Stratton was not supposed to be the babyface in this storyline. She was not. It was supposed to be Charlotte, but because Charlotte got booed so badly at the Royal Rumble and the first Raw afterwards, they had no choice but to turn Tiffany babyface because they didn't want to do a heel program. So and her babyface turn was dumb. Like they just quickly just said, all of a sudden just started having her talk as a babyface. They just quickly just randomly on I think it was, I don't remember SmackDown or Raw, but it was just randomly said, hey, I'm just gonna talk nicely now, and then she was a babyface, because they had no choice. That was not the plan, the original plan, but that became the plan because of what happened. And I can't blame anybody because I was one of the people that were booing Charlotte because Charlotte shouldn't have won the Rumble. But then, of course, they ruined the one women's match that could have probably saved the women's whole aspect of the card, and that was Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair for the women's world championship, which they decided for whatever reason that Io Sky had to be in this match. And so they gave her the championship, and I still think it was a stupid decision. And I saw it live. I saw it live in Buffalo. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they went in that direction. Yeah, I mean, I think it was I still think it was the wrong decision, but I mean, again, it's so weird because currently right now we have two triple threats. All right. Possibly three if Punk is inserted into the Cena Cody one. And who knows? The Intercontinental and the US Championship matches might be a multi-man match. Whether it be an Intercontinental or Fatal 4-Way. It seems like LA Knight's defending it against Jacob Braun. He's going to face it against both of them. And maybe Sola as well. Maybe Sola will be in that as well. Like, I don't see... Because I thought Sola and Jacob were going to be... They were going to be fighting one-on-one. But it seems like what they're going to do... I think... My prediction is I don't think they're going to make it a triple threat. Because they already have a bunch of triple threats, so that would be kind of dumb. I think it's going to be a 4-way. Jacob, Solo, LA Knight, yeah, and Braun Strowman. I think it's going to be a 4-way. And then Braun Breaker, I think, will have the ladder match with the Judgment Day guys, Penta, and I can't think of some other people right now, but I'm sure there will be other people involved too. But I think they'll get the ladder match. But it's really weird because Vince McMahon was so against multiple triple threats. Like, I remember the rule was for WrestleMania that there can only be one triple threat in the WrestleMania under Vince McMahon, and now Triple H has kind of broken that rule. And he is just, and again, I'm not opposed to having multiple triple threat matches because I don't think there's an issue with having multiple triple threat matches. I never was a fan of that rule. As long as it made sense and it was an organic storyline with, compelling, championships involved, because that was my whole idea with triple threats is that, a title had to be involved or something had to be involved, for it to be a successful triple threat. But I was never opposed to that, but it just seems like Triple H is really forcing on triple threats. To either he's forcing on triple threats to try and get everybody on the show, or he is trying to do it because he thinks that it would make it, better to have all of them there at once. But I think it really hurts it. And I think it hurts Rhea. I think it hurt Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley taking that loss, I think, was a bad idea. Because Rhea Ripley could have walked into that WrestleMania against Bianca Belair as never had lost while she was champion. Because she had never been defeated as champion if she had not lost to Io Sky. Because she vacated the title due to an injury. And I remember when Batista had faced The Undertaker at WrestleMania 23, they had said Batista had never been defeated for the championship. He vacated the title due to an injury, but because he never actually lost the championship, they used that in the storyline, to build up, the drama between the streak versus the championship. Batista literally, it was literally the unbeatable streak versus the unbeatable champion because Batista hadn't lost as champion. He hadn't been defeated for the title. And they used that, and that's what I thought they should have done with Rhea Ripley against Bianca Belair, because it would have created this whole tension of, can Bianca beat Rhea Ripley, and they were both baby faces. Could she beat him? Could she beat, could she beat her? Could she beat her? And that's where I think they screwed up. And now Io Sky, she's like a freaking afterthought in this storyline. She literally is. She's literally an afterthought. Like, they're presenting her as like a paper champion that nobody has any interest in. Like Bianca, Rhea, they're just kind of pushing her aside. And I'm thinking the way this booking is being done, I'm like, why is she even in this storyline now? You could have just done Rhea and Bianca one-on-one, and it would have worked just fine. Like I said, this WrestleMania card, I just don't understand it, man. The card just doesn't make sense. A lot of overbookings. But the one confirmation is that Punk is main eventing night one, and I know there was rumors that he wasn't main eventing night one. That they were going to say that the Bianca, the Rhea and Io match was going to main event night one. I know there were reports out there that were saying that, but I never really believed them, because if you test the show and you see it, not many people are really into that match compared to this match. Because of the tension between the three guys. The women's world title match, to me, it ruined its chance to main event night one the moment they had Rhea Ripley lose. If they would have had Rhea Ripley win that match, and it would have been Bianca versus Rhea, I think they could have had that match as night one. Because the storyline into that would have been that Rhea hadn't been defeated as the champion. So could could Bianca, who's undefeated at WrestleMania, she got like a 4-0 undefeated streak right now, okay, could she beat, I think it's 4-0, it's either 4 or 5, I don't remember, but point being is she's undefeated, okay, could she beat him? Could she beat her? Streak versus title. You know what I'm saying? Streak versus title. They could have done that. The moment she lost, they ruined that opportunity. They ruined that opportunity where that match could have been important over the Punk Roman Seth match. Even though I don't think it would have been as important as it, they could have made it something very close, aligned with it, where Triple H would have had to make the tough decision, where it's like, oh, do I not put this as the main event? Because a lot of people have been glamoring for, a woman match to be the night one main event. But obviously we know that doesn't always happen. I think it's only happened once since the night two, or the 2-night era. I think Sasha and Bianca, I think, main evented night one, and I think that's the only time that a women's match main evented night one. Now, obviously, I know that Becky Lynch main evented the last WrestleMania that was night one. That was only one night. She was the one that main evented WrestleMania definitively because she was the first woman to main event a night one. A main event that was, definitively, you know, the main event because that was the last WrestleMania where it was, only one night. But those are the only two instances. And again, when Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda did it, it was, the last WrestleMania that was a definitive only one night. So that was a great thing for them to do that, especially before the night one, night two era of WrestleMania. But obviously, since they've had two nights, there's only been one women's match that has done it, and I think that was Bianca and Sasha, and that was night one, not night two. But so the stories haven't been that great, especially if you're an undercard guy. I mean, even the men's Royal Rumble winner, Jey Uso versus Gunther, nobody's interested in it. And again, it goes back to the whole him losing on Saturday night's main event. That I've been saying that forever. Like him losing that the week before the Royal Rumble killed any chance of that being a believable match that could have main evented night one. That killed it because he lost clean in the ring. It doesn't matter if Jay wins at WrestleMania this time, when he goes up against Gunther, because people just don't buy it. Outside of his entrance, there's really nothing there. People aren't interested in his matches. They're interested in the yeet. They're interested in the entrance. That's about it. But if they're not interested in the match, then, we got problems at that point. Because you got to be cheering during the match too. You got to be engaged in the match, not just the damn entrance. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with that. Here's the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if Jey Uso loses because people are just not buying it. They're not buying him as a credible champion right now. I wouldn't be surprised if Triple H pulls a swerve and he doesn't have him win. He might still have him win anyways. He might just end up winning anyways. But I'm gonna tell you one thing: he's not gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be a long champion if he wins, because he's just not. He's just not interested. No one's believing it right now. I think if LA Knight had won it, I think LA Knight would have been believable. Right now, if they gave him something to work with, but again, it goes down to the booking. If LA Knight had been beaten on Saturday night's main event, like Jey Uso was, then I don't think he would have worked either, because then he would have won the Rumble, and then people would have been uninterested in it again, because it's like they would have been uninterested in it because they were like, oh, well, you lost to him, so how should we now buy into you now being able to beat him if you already lost to him? So that was what killed. That's what killed Jey Uso's momentum of that ever having a chance to main event night one. Was the moment he lost in Saturday night's main event. That's what I'm saying. Like if the idea was for him to win the Rumble all that time, he should have never been in the Saturday night's main event match. You got to save that for WrestleMania. And they didn't do that. I guarantee you, if Vince McMahon, and now Vince McMahon probably doesn't book Jey Uso to win the Rumble, keep in mind, but if Vince McMahon decided for Jey Uso to win the Royal Rumble, do you really think that Vince McMahon would have put him in a Saturday night's main event match to lose to Gunther, who he's trying to believe as a credible guy that could be the champion? No, he wouldn't have done that. So that's where Triple H made the mistake. if he wanted to get this guy over as the world champion, as a believable world champion. That's where he made the mistake. But yeah, that is it. Like I said, this whole favor thing, I don't know what it's going to be. Again, the only thing I think it can be is him being inserted in the match if he wins. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate. If you like this video, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for the latest content. Thank you. And that's about it, guys. I am the Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace.